What do you think? Are there spirits haunting us from beyond the grave, or is this all just a coincidence? Let me know your thoughts below. Hey everyone, it's me, number 4, the shadow in the garden. First, let me ask you a question. Do you ever get the feeling that you're being watched? As if someone is looking at you from the shadows, silently judging every move you make. Maybe you've even turned around and seen nothing, but felt the hair on the back of your neck stand on end. Well, imagine living in a world where that feeling never goes away, where even in the safety of your own home, you're never truly alone. That was the reality for Reverend Lionel Foister and his wife Marianne, who moved into a remote countryside house near the village of Borley, East England in 1928. The house was a sprawling stone manor with thick walls, high ceilings, and long hallways, the kind of place where shadows stretched and secrets lingered. It was surrounded by ancient trees and mist that rolled in from the nearby River Stour, creating an eerie atmosphere that seemed to swallow the sunlight. From the moment they stepped inside, the Fosters knew they weren't alone. In fact, the history of the house was steeped in tales of hauntings. Previous tenants had fled, claiming to be stalked by a ghostly nun and tormented by disembodied voices. Despite these warnings, the Fosters decided to stay, hoping to ignore the strange occurrences until they could be attributed to normal causes. But they soon realized that this was not going to be so easy. On their first night, while lying in bed, Marianne heard the distinct sound of footsteps pacing back and forth directly above their ceiling. When she told her husband, he dismissed it as a branch scraping against the roof. But as the weeks passed, the sounds grew louder and more frequent. Now dragging chains echoed from the attic, accompanied by the regular thump of heavy footsteps. And all the while, the bedroom remained silent. To make matters worse, the couple often woke up in the middle of the night to find the room filled with an unnatural mist, as if a cold wind had swept through the house and vanished. But the most unsettling part of all was that these occurrences never happened when they were awake. Only when they slept did the haunting commence. Part 3, Whispers in the Dark. Unable to take the constant nightly disturbances any longer, Marianne shared her concerns with her husband. She proposed that they move to a different room, perhaps one less affected by whatever was haunting their home. But her husband only laughed, assuming that her fears were getting the better of her imagination. He believed that these old houses always made strange noises and that the occasional ghost story added to the charm rather than being a disturbance. However, as the days passed, even he began to feel uneasy, as if someone's unseen presence was scrutinizing his every move. And then one evening, Marianne heard a voice calling her name. Startled, she turned towards the door and saw a dim, flickering light coming from the top of the stairs leading to the second floor. No one else was in the room. As the weeks went by, the whispers grew louder, the footsteps more frequent. One night, Marianne awoke to the sound of fingernails scratching against the wall next to their bed. Terrified, she grabbed her husband's arm, pointing to the wall, but he reassured her that it was probably just a mouse. However, soon after, a draft of cold air swept through the room, extinguishing the candles and plunging them into darkness. As if guided by an unseen hand, Marianne felt herself rise from the bed and walk toward the scratching sound. Despite her fear, she continued until she reached the spot where the noise seemed to originate. There she collapsed, only to wake up later in the morning, disoriented and confused, with no memory of how she got there. This happened several times, each occurrence leaving Marianne more drained and weaker. One morning, Reverend Foister noticed strange markings on the walls, as if someone had tried to write a message using a finger dipped in ink. Unable to decipher the symbols, he called upon Harry Price, a renowned paranormal investigator from London, to help decipher the markings. Part 4, Unearthing the Truth. Harry Price, a man dedicated his life to unraveling the mysteries of the supernatural. He had spent years researching ghosts and hauntings, traveling across the country to investigate all manner of strange phenomena. When the Fosters contacted him about the strange happenings in their home, he jumped at the chance to add another case to his already impressive list. Upon arriving at Borley Rectory, he began interviewing the couple, asking detailed questions about the events they had been experiencing. He couldn't shake off the feeling that something more, but as he listened to their stories, he couldn't shake off the feeling that something more sinister was at play. While Price observed the Fosters, they described the sounds of footsteps, whispers, and the feeling of being watched, along with the sudden, inexplicable illnesses that seemed to be affecting Marianne more than anyone else. Intrigued and slightly skeptical, Price began his investigation. He set up recording devices throughout the house, hoping to capture any sounds or voices that had only been witnessed but never recorded before. He also kept a close watch for any unusual activity, taking notes of anything out of the ordinary. Marianne showed him the wall where she had seen the mysterious markings, but Price noticed that the couple had already attempted to clean them off, making them almost invisible to the untrained eye. Determined to uncover the truth, Price took samples of the wall, hoping to analyze the composition and determine if it was indeed a message written in some otherworldly ink. But the results were inconclusive, providing no clear answers. Then Marianne revealed the scratches on the wall, which Price recognized as resembling the markings of a fingernail. He carefully examined the marks and concluded that they were too fresh to be part of a ghostly message. This realization sent chills down his spine, leading him to believe that the house might hold darker secrets than he had initially imagined. With renewed determination, Price decided to take drastic measures. He gathered several friends and colleagues and returned to the rectory, armed with shovels and determined to dig behind the wall. As they chipped away at the plaster and masonry, a foul smell wafted out, indicating that what they were about to discover was something morbid. Finally, they broke through and created a small opening, revealing a small chamber concealed behind the wall. Inside the secret space, they found a wooden box containing human remains and a piece of a broken cross. It was a grim discovery that suggested a connection to the church and the possibility of a burial. Could this be the source of the haunting? Price was eager to find out. After securing the box and preserving the site, Price arranged for a local priest to conduct a proper burial ceremony for the remains, giving them the dignity they deserved. However, as he prepared to close the opening, he noticed more markings on the wall similar to those seen in other parts of the house. He realized that what he had uncovered was just the beginning. The presence in the house, whatever it was, had been disturbed and might be growing stronger. As he sealed the opening and said a prayer for the deceased, he couldn't help but wonder what other secrets lay hidden within the walls of Borley Rectory. Now share your thoughts. What do you think lies behind the wall of Borley Rectory? And what other mysteries might the house still be hiding? Share your theories in the comments. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying tales. Have a great night and try not to think about any unwanted visitors lurking in the shadows.